Transformers Dark of the Moon special with Jesse and Spada, only on TFWire.com.
Hello and welcome to the TFWire.com Transformers Dark of the Moon special. I am Jesse and I am joined by Spada.
Hello, sir.
How are you?
I am doing well.
That's great.
Wait a minute. It's 2 years later, isn't it?
Yeah, when was the last time we recorded together?
Revenge of the Fallen?
We did have didn't we have a April Fool's?
Possibly.
I'm thinking we had an April Fool's thing.
I think we did.
That might have been the last time. I've only ever done one podcast since then, so. And that was...
Well, I have been podcasting like a crazy man over at another place, and I'm still doing video reviews. So
apparently, some of them aren't getting approved.
Oh, okay.
I just watched your latest review, or I guess it's not your latest, your second latest of Shockwave, and I'm like, when's this review going to start? And then I see these scrolling words.
Yeah. Thank you, YouTube, and your ubiquitous annoyance of, well, this is copywritten. I took the picture myself. What are you talking about?
Is that what it ended up being? Just
I have no idea. They still haven't told me.
Oh.
All I know is I got an email saying, nope, this is copywritten. What part of it is?
Because when you file a copyright complaint, don't you have to submit evidence of what the violation is?
Nope, DMC takedown. All you need to say is, this violates our copyright, and then that's all you have to do. Oh. Yeah, you could think the DMCA is a piece of bullshit.
I think you have a hater out there who just wants to...
Oh, that's entirely possible. Apparently nobody liked my Sentinel Prime Leader Class review either. The figure can't stand on its own. That makes it bad.
Oh. Why is everyone else loving the figure?
Yes.
So you're saying if you buy it, just leave it in the box, right?
Whatever.
Alright, so we're here to give you our thoughts on the Dark of the Moon Transformers movie, which was just released on June 29th. And actually had a special preview night on Tuesday, June 28th, 2011. We're recording this on July 3rd, 2011. So this is a Sunday. The movie's been out for 5 days now?
Yeah, about. It's been in wide release since Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Yeah, so it's been in wide release for 5 days.
And we'll talk about the number breakdown in a little bit here. But first of all, what were your thoughts on the movie after you saw it?
Well, after I saw it, I was happy that I saw it. I was happy I sat through it, and I was really glad it wasn't Revenge of the Fallen. Now, I know it's getting critically panned, and a lot of people are going, oh, this movie was terrible. And, honestly, all I wanted was just a fun popcorn movie with a lot of explosions and giant robots, and that's exactly what I got.
I agree. I went into it. I didn't really, since I've been out of the fandom for quite a while now, I'm not really following any Transformer news. I didn't really follow any of the behind-the-scenes stuff. I didn't end up buying the novel that came out, so I didn't read that.
Neither did I.
I just wanted to be completely surprised going into it. And for the most part, I really love the film. It does have some issues, which I'm going to be talking about here in just a bit.
Oh yeah. This movie is far from perfect, and in fact, it has a lot of problems. But at the same point, I still really enjoyed it. I had fun. I was happy with it.
Well, I'll put it this way. When I went and saw Revenge of the Fallen for the first time, I fell asleep.
Yeah.
Not so with this film, so there's that. So you mentioned that it was getting panned by the critics. I'm on Rotten Tomatoes right now, and it does have a 38%. However, the audience reviews, they give it 90%, so...
Now, I will admit that we aren't, movie reviewers by any stretch of the imagination. And we both realized that this movie, yes, it does have some problems, but I think we both knew going into it that what it was going to be.
Right.
And it sounds like the critics were either in the camp of, another Transformers movie, or let's see what happens. And, Michael Bay, I don't particularly like Michael Bay, but he knows how to make an action movie.
You think he's kind of douchey, don't you?
He is kind of douchey. He is. But, I mean, the man has made several... He's made a couple of movies that have made let's see, almost $2 billion on Transformers alone. And let's not forget Armageddon and The Rock.
I love The Rock.
I love The Rock. I think it's a great movie. He makes entertaining movies.
Agreed.
And that's all I wanted.
And apparently that's what you got.
Yes, and that's exactly what I got.
All right, so those were our quick thoughts after initially seeing the movie. So what did you like about the film?
I actually, after maybe the first hour or so, I really liked Sam. After that first hour, I really liked him. The first hour, he was very unsympathetic, but after that, he was really cool. And I love Turturro in this movie. I thought this was his best movie.
I think I'm going to agree with you on that.
I really dug the military. I mean, the use of the military in this was, I thought, a lot better. I really do. I think the first movie was really good. The second movie, but the third movie, I thought they used the government and the military very well.
Yeah, I will definitely agree with you on that. Is that the only thing you liked?
I'm trying to think. Like, I had this whole list of things, and I somehow completely forgotten it all of a sudden.
Oh.
The battles. The battles were really, really well done this time. I thought they were better in this movie than they were in Revenge of the Fallen. I think the on-screen... I think ILM has really outdone themselves because this movie felt more together than the other two did. The Autobots and Decepticons were on screen longer, and the special effects I thought were a cut above of the last couple of action movies that I've seen. I mean, let's face it, Chicago gets effed up, and I think they did a really, really good job of showing that.
How come they can't get a Star Wars film right, though?
Well, the bearded monster won't let them.
Anything else?
I actually liked Carly.
Oh man, you stole the one I was going to lead with.
I liked her. I thought she seemed more real to me than Megan Fox was.
Yeah, I was going to say Megan who?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, she was there for TNA, but she also knew that she was there for TNA and did the best she could with it.
Right. Agreed.
And I liked the character. I thought she was a very human character.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think much more so than Megan Fox's character. I personally like Patrick Dempsey as the Dylan character. Complete douche.
Oh, very much so. Very much so. Did a good job with it, though.
I absolutely loathe that character by the end of the movie, so I think he did a great job with that.
Oh, I really did not like that character either. The other thing I liked, I did like the fact that I liked the whole conspiracy with the shuttle, not the shuttle. Oh my god, the moon landing.
Yeah,
I thought that was actually pretty cool.
I love it when they take a historical event and they weave some sort of conspiracy around it. I love that when they do that in films, and this happened to be one of them. They did that with the first Transformer movie in the teaser trailer with the Mars rover.
Yep.
So I love it when they do that. Going back to the beginning of the film, I loved it. I love the fact that Prime has a trailer now, and I absolutely love the fact that it turns into
a giant weapons storage.
A giant weapons storage for the battle.
Excuse me.
Absolutely love that. I wish it was kind of used more in the film.
Yeah, once at the very beginning.
It was at the very beginning, and
very end.
He did have his trailer at the end, and then he just sort of lost it, and he regained it again and used it as a flight suit. But
Now you see that I missed that part because I had to run to the bathroom like you wouldn't believe.
okay, Spada, do I have to tell you how to go watch a movie? Never ever get anything to drink, and always go to the bathroom before.
I did both of those, and I still had to go.
Oh man. Yeah, you missed a. Wait, which part did you miss? Where he was flying?
I missed the part just before they went into the building and he got the trailer back.
Gotcha.
I missed those minute. I missed that minute.
Well, you actually never see him get the trailer back. He just has it, and he's flying.
Okay, that I saw. Because that I was wondering. When I came back, I saw him flying. I saw the building collapsing sequence,
Yep.
and then I saw him flying in. And I thought, oh man, I missed him getting his trailer again.
No, that was the thing. Like, they were talking about Shockwave, and he had to get his trailer back, and then you never see him interact with Shockwave. He just has the trailer, and he's flying.
Okay, so I didn't miss anything.
You didn't miss it.
Oh.
I love the fact that the parents were in it again. They were in there for some great comedic relief. But I felt that their time on the screen was very short. I'd like
They
to.
showed up. They were in the movie twice.
Yeah, this kind of goes into what we didn't like, but I like the fact that they were actually in the movie. I liked the Shockwave character, and I'll get into more about him when we talk about what we didn't like.
Yep.
But I like the fact that the Shockwave was there. I liked the group of the Decepticons that they had, that primary group, which consisted of 3. We had Megatron, Starscream, well, I guess 4, Soundwave, and Laserbeak.
I liked Laserbeak. I thought Laserbeak was pretty awesome.
Yeah, Laserbeak was an interesting character. He probably had more lines than any of the other Decepticons.
Which is sad.
Yeah. I also liked the Brains character.
I loved the Brains character, especially when they were tearing up the ship.
Yeah.
And the ship started going down, and he just goes, we're scene cut.
Yeah. I absolutely hated the twins, but the duo of Wheelie and Brains, they worked really well together.
I don't know why, because they were almost the same characters. Almost. But these two characters, Wheelie and Brains, worked so much better than Skids and Mudflap.
Yeah, I think it's just because that they weren't primary characters. They were more of off to the side.
And no Leo.
Thank God. But isn't he still, doesn't he have his little conspiracy theory newspaper website running?
Who cares?
On the Autobots, I didn't really care about any of the other Autobots, so I won't say.
Why don't we go ahead and get into things we didn't like?
What we didn't like, okay.
Yeah, because there are a couple of things that I want to bring up that are rather important. But you go ahead first.
I can go first?
Yes.
I don't want to cut into your time, or what do you want
to
talk
no, because
about?
I think we both have the same exact issues.
All right, so where should I start? Should I start with Shockwave?
Yeah, let's go ahead and start with Shockwave.
All right.
Mr. Less lines than Boba Fett.
Yeah, I think he said one intelligible line in the entire movie, and that was Optimus. He showed up later in the movie, and he said something, but I believe it was in the Cybertronian language, and I have no idea what he said.
Well, let's see. He showed up, came out of the worm, and pretty much went Optimus Prime, and then went back in the worm. And then showed up again at the end of the movie with the exact same effect. I mean, exactly the same.
I was thinking it was almost the same exact scene. They just cut in again.
It was the exact same scene. And then he walks a block and is killed. And he was being touted as the big bad of the film. How?
Yeah, so when he first showed up, I'm like, what the fuck is this worm thing? It's never explained. It's just there. It's never explained how Shockwave gets there, or why everyone's fearing him. Like, ooh, Shockwave, ooh.
Now, apparently, according to the game, now I haven't played the game, but I've read a synopsis. Apparently, Shockwave was underneath Chernobyl, and he actually caused the Chernobyl accident. So
I thought that I thought that was due to the part they got from the ship.
I thought so too, but I've seen like the game and the comic and the movie all have 3 different plot lines.
Oh,
So
nice. So yeah, my main problem with Shockwave was no character development. He shows up, I didn't really care about him. No reason to care about him.
and speaking of no reason to care about any characters, the character of Q, the one that has 2 or 3 lines in the whole movie, he shows up when the Autobots are all gathered together, and then he gives Sam and Lennox some gadgets, and then he is promptly executed.
Yeah, the entire scene of character development was when the Autobots came back to Nest, and you could hear over the loudspeaker system. They were calling the different Autobots to their specific bays, and that was it. Here's your introduction. This is what they do. That's it. Ta-da!
And who was Mirage? Was it Mirage that was the Ferrari? I don't know.
Oh, you mean Dino?
Was that who it was?
The red one?
Yeah.
Yeah, Dino.
It was Dino.
Dino, yep.
Okay, because I never picked up on that because I couldn't understand what anything was saying.
It was Dino, yeah.
So you had Dino, you had Sideswipe, you had Q, and then you had the Wreckers who... Okay, I have to go back to things I loved. I love the fact that the redneck-looking NASCAR robots all have Scottish accents.
That was pretty funny, yeah.
That made me laugh. When they started talking, I'm like, oh, that is a perfect FU.
And I did love the Wreckers, but going back to what I didn't like, again, with no character introduction or backstory, It's like the Wreckers, okay, what are those?
Yeah, who are they?
I mean, why should I care about them?
That's something that's really irritated me ever since the first film, is Michael Bay does not bother to give any character development to the Transformers. Yeah. Okay, we know who Optimus Prime is. We know who Bumblebee is. Less or no, we know who Ironhide is, kind of.
Yeah.
Besides that, we know nothing else about any of the other characters.
Yeah, the only character development we really got was in the very first film. And from that, it was really just from the battle scenes, which was mostly focused on Prime.
Yep.
So you learn a little bit more about Prime and his character. But other than that, yeah, in this movie, there definitely wasn't any character development.
And that's something that's always irritated me is these movies are called Transformers. Why are the humans pretty much in it 90% of the time?
The central focus, yeah.
Yeah, why are they the central focus? And I was thinking about this the other day. Back in 2007 and 2009, it would be just so horrifically expensive to have an all-robot movie. I can understand why they did it in 2007, because it was a boy in his car, that was the story focus, and let's face it, back then, we just did not have the technology. But now we do. I mean, can you imagine if James Cameron got a hold of the Transformers franchise, what he could do with it?
Yeah.
I mean, just an entire show with no humans, or entire movie with no humans, all in 3D. That's what Avatar was, practically.
Yeah. And I don't mind the human characters. Like, I like the Sam character. I like Josh Duhamel's character. Trying to think of his name. Lennox. Yep. I like the Epps character. And they had less... Well, I think the Epps character had less screen time than he did in the previous films.
Yeah, he didn't show up until the last, quarter of the movie.
Lennox sort of seemed like he had, I guess, the same amount of screen time, at least the same amount as Revenge of the Fallen, anyways. Mm-hmm. But those are characters I like. I also like the Simmons character.
I like Simmons, and I loved the Dusty. Was that his name? The German/Austrian butler guy.
Dutch.
I loved him. I thought he was hysterical because the man obviously has issues. I would love to see a movie of just Totoro and him.
That would be kind of funny.
That would be a good movie. And I really liked The the woman who was the intelligence officer.
Yeah. What is her name?
To IMDb.
Meering?
Yeah, I think that's it. I really liked her. I thought she was an interesting character. Meering, yes. Frances McDormand. McDormand, yeah.
I thought she was kind of bitchy at first. But as the movie went on, she sort of grew on me. Mm-hmm. Which I guess with the way she was presented, that's how it was supposed to happen.
Yeah.
But yeah.
One thing I really didn't like, and this is more of Michael Bay's humor / style, the juxtaposition from this really serious feeling moment of being on the moon, and the humans are discovering that they're not alone in the universe, and then it immediately cuts to the pair to Carly's ass and a sparkly G-string. I don't mind her, but Michael Bay has a way of just destroying the tone in his movies.
Hey, I like a nice tight ass on a chick.
I do too. But there's got to be some context, or, you can't go from this really deep, really important plot point to titty, ass.
Well, sometimes you just got to have titty, ass.
All right.
Though I will agree, it was a bad. The way they cut it was kind of bad. It's just like, from one extreme to the next.
And that's something else that kind of irritated me. Something about the editing seemed off. I think the movie was a lot longer, and they really cut some stuff out. I would love to see a director's cut of this.
Which is something he hasn't done with the previous Transformer movies. We just get the deleted scenes, but we don't get like a director's cut.
I would like a director's cut of this, because I have a feeling that there was a lot more movie, like we said, Prime getting his trailer wings. I'd be really surprised that there was actually that abrupt of a cut from, hey, we're on the moon, to ass. I would bet you there were a lot of dropped stuff. I just have a feeling.
And I'm wondering if that is the case, how much of that actually included the Transformers. And if they did delete those scenes, are they finished? If they're not finished, maybe will they go back and finish them for the DVD and Blu-ray release?
That'd be nice.
I agree. I would like to see a director's cut. I mean, with Blu-ray, I mean, you can even do it on regular DVDs, but especially with Blu-ray, you can have all that content on there, and you can I mean, it'll play seamlessly to go from a director's cut to a theatrical cut. So
I would very much like to see a director's cut of this.
Yep.
So let's see. Is there anything else? Oh, the one other thing that I really found kind of annoying. They didn't copy not one, but two different original G1 episodes.
You mean pulling Cybertron to Earth?
Well, that was one from the Ultimate Doom, and the other one was kicking the Autobots off the planet.
Yep.
Those were two separate plot points from the original cartoon. And that kind of irritated me.
I think Aaron Kruger just sat down, popped into season 1, and was like, "All right, let's incorporate this in the script."
Yeah. Oh, and the one part I liked was the part in the very beginning where Brains and Wheelie go to sit down and watch TV. Star Trek is on, and Wheelie goes, we've seen this episode. It's the one where Spock goes crazy." I actually liked that. But what I didn't like was the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. I'm sorry, don't use that line in Transformers. That's a Star Trek line. Just leave it alone.
Now, see, I don't care because I'm not a Trekkie fan.
I'm a huge Trek fan, and that irritated me. And so he said it, and like I overheard one guy in the audience just go, "Oh, you've got to be fucking kidding me."
Nice. My mom did recognize. Like I went and saw the movie on preview night with a friend. We were down in Florida, and then I took my parents to go see the movie on Friday. just because I wanted to see it again. They did go to see the first movie with me on preview night. I wanted to take them again. And my mom even recognized that as a line from Star Trek. I'm like, you're not a Trekkie. How the hell did you know that?
I mean, that line is so ingrained in popular culture. It really did irritate me that they used it. But what did you think of Sentinel Prime?
I love the character of Sentinel Prime.
Now, what do you think would you have rather it been Sentinel Prime, or originally it was going to be Ultra Magnus?
Yeah, I just read that, I believe, last night. Like, I didn't know that going into the movie, but I believe I just read what you said I think last night. I just read that online. No, I like the fact that it's Sentinel Prime. Like, I don't know within the mythology exactly who Sentinel Prime is. I know he shows up in the different cartoons and the comics and things like that.
Well, he was Optimus's predecessor. Is pretty much what it comes down to.
But when did that start in the fiction?
It actually started in the original G1. Because
But was that in that comic?
No, that was in the original show, I believe.
Are you
because
sure?
there was an episode where they were talking about where Megatron came from. And I believe they said Sentinel Prime at one point. He was a character named Sentinel, and he was, just shot by Megatron at one point after the Constructicons built Megatron.
You're making me want to dig out the G1 series so I can watch it.
It was either in that or the comics.
I don't think it was in the cartoon. Like, I've watched the entire thing a number of times, and I can't ever remember that showing up. I know there's talk of Vector Sigma creating everything.
Okay, well, a quick Google search reveals he was first mentioned in issue 65 of the U.S. Comics. He was mentioned to hold the Autobot matrix of leadership before Optimus. Since then, he's appeared in a variety of different forms. He's been in the original Marvel, Dreamwave, IDW, animated, obviously the movie, and let's see. I know he was in the G1 show at one point, but okay, I don't think he was named in the G1 show. That's my fault.
Okay.
So it was originally in issue 65 of the U.S. Comics.
Gotcha. Okay, so it started in the comic, but it was G1, but it just started in the comic. Gotcha.
And for what it's worth, I loved Leonard Nimoy as Sentinel Prime.
Yeah,
I absolutely love that. I thought he did a great job,
agree.
especially when he first woke up and he went, "Oh Jesus!
No, I agree.
Hell!" And he looks at the humans and he's like, he's just looking at them like, "What the hell are you?"
No, yeah, I think Leonard Nimoy did a great job with the voice. I really liked the character. And again, since I didn't really read any of the spoiler stuff, I didn't know anything going into the film. I think it was a complete shock to me when I saw that he betrayed the Autobots like that.
The only reason it wasn't a shock to me was because one of my YouTube commenters spoiled it.
Oh.
And I'm like, shit.
See, it was a complete surprise for me. I wasn't expecting it at all.
It was kind of out of left field, which was pretty cool. I actually did really like the fact that, had I not known that he was going to betray them, or had already betrayed them, that would have been a, wait, what? For me.
That's exactly what it was for me. Because they're all rushing back to Nest with him. They're going to guard him, protect him from the Decepticons. And then he just goes off and he annihilates the Autobots.
Let me think here. Things I did not like.
Well, I got another big one here.
Okay, go ahead.
And that's Megatron.
Damn it, that's what I was going to say.
So, I don't know, I'm assuming it's been there's a span of 4 years between Revenge of the Fallen and this one?
Because Sam is a recent college grad.
Yep. Not that college students now graduate within 4 years. It's more like 5+.
Yeah.
But I'm going to assume it's like 4 years. Anyways, within that 4-year time span, he couldn't have been fixed.
And what the hell was with all those things crawling over him?
Yeah, I've never understood what those things are. Like, weren't they on him?
They're the same model as Scalpel or the Doctor from Revenge of the Fallen.
But weren't they crawling on him in the second movie too, or maybe even the first movie?
I don't remember.
I know that he used to pick stuff out of him, but I can't remember which movie that was. Whether it was the first one after they revived him, or the second one after they put him back together.
I think it was the second one.
I don't understand what those are.
Or why they're even there.
Yeah, like, are they Cybertron parasites? I don't know.
And what's the purpose of him being this tanker truck?
Yeah,
what was the point?
Never explained. Yeah, why did he go from some Cybertronian form to this human form now?
And what have they been up to? What have they been doing? Absolutely just sitting in the middle of Africa? You mean no one? And they established that there were energon detectors all over the world.
Yeah. You
couldn't find them? Now, yes, Soundwave was there causing some issues, but, I mean, really?
I guess they were just making deals with the humans?
I guess? And how does Soundwave get from point A to point B? He was in Africa after Carly got the Mercedes?
No, that was before.
Okay, that was before.
Yeah, that was like that was during the introduction of Megatron again.
Okay.
That was at the very beginning.
It's like, what are the Decepticons doing?
But there is a lot of geography hopping in this film as well. Like, we go from DC, the Decepticons are over in Africa. Sam and the Nest people, they all go from DC, they hop on down to Florida. And then they go back to Chicago. I mean, that's a lot of geography hopping there.
Yeah, but it's not as bad as Revenge of the Fallen, where you go from Dulles to, I'm assuming, somewhere in, like, the Plain States, in the same building, and then to Egypt. And then up into Iran, and then back into Egypt. It's like, wait, what?
Yeah. When they found Jetfire, where did they go? They went from inside
Dulles. They went to Dulles Air and Space Museum.
And as soon as they went outside, where was that?
It was like, wait, I've been to that building. I know where Dulles is. There is no giant field.
That's the magic of movie making, though. I don't know. Yeah, the geography hopping wasn't that bad, but there was a lot of it in this film. At least I thought so.
It wasn't as noticeable.
Very true.
Oh, that's the other thing I forgot. One other thing I didn't like. That's a huge big one. That's a huge biggie. In the very beginning of the film, Sam is a completely unsympathetic character. I mean, he's living in the middle of DC in an apartment that would cost millions, with a smoking hot girlfriend.
Yeah, but that was her
and
place.
He's getting job offers left and right, and he won't take any of them. And he settles for working for John Malkovich as a mail boy.
Oh, going back to something I like. What was that guy? Wang? The Wang guy.
Wang. Jimmy Wang.
Yeah. I love that character.
That was weird. I mean, that was just weird.
It got a lot of laughs in all the in the two theaters I saw the movie at, though. So
I just kind of when the whole bathroom scene happened, I just kind of covered my eyes. I'm like, I don't want to watch.
Well, like the very first time I saw it, I'm like, what the hell's up with this character? But then once the scene played out, I'm like, oh, okay. I don't know that it really made sense, but it was at least funny.
It was funny. I don't think it's going to be funny on repeat viewings.
Yeah.
And let's face it, he was a completely 100% forgettable character. Because I had forgotten he was in there a couple days later until I watched a review of it, and they mentioned him again, and I'm like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I had forgotten that guy existed.
Trying to think, what else didn't I like? I did like the way that the Cybertron was portrayed in this one. In the first film, it would look like a rock.
Mm-hmm.
This one, it seemed to be more mechanical.
Yes.
Although it seemed to be made out of, what were they, hexagons?
Yeah, it seemed to be made out of Lincoln logs or something.
But it at least looked like there was machinery there this time instead of rocks.
Right.
So I like that. I did like the Sentinel Prime character.
I loved the Wreckers. I thought the Wreckers were really cool. I just wish I could see them transform.
Wreckers were great. I love the final battle between Prime and Sentinel.
And then between Prime and Megatron.
Yeah, and then Megatron jumped in.
Fantastic.
My only complaint, okay, if this is going to be the last movie, which there'll probably be another one, but if this is going to be Michael Bay's last movie, and this is the end of the trilogy, I would like to have seen that scene, or that fight scene, extended just a little bit. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, between Prime and Megatron, I would have liked to have seen that go a little bit longer.
Like, when Megatron's...
Let me put it this way. I would have liked it to have been longer than the Sam versus Starscream.
Yeah. Like, that scene dragged on a little too long. Like, Megatron says, what would you be without me? And Prime says...
Let's find out.
Yeah, it's time we find out, or let's find out, or something like that. And then it's over in, 10 seconds?
15 at the most.
I would like to have seen that at least go 30 seconds, maybe a minute.
I would have liked that. That would have been nice.
I know. I don't get why it was so short. It seems like the main battles in these movies, they're extremely short. I mean, go back and look at Revenge of the Fallen.
Oh.
I mean, it ends in
Give me your face. The climactic battle after Jetfire... Oh, I'm old and annoying. Take my parts, Prime.
Yeah,
that lasted 32 seconds, I think is what it was.
Yeah, Prime flies up, destroys the... whatever that thing is, on top of the pyramid.
Wastes Megatron and then completely annihilates the Fallen.
And then it's over.
And then it's over. It's like, oh.
Oh, yeah, something else I didn't like, and this kind of goes to that final battle scene. The Transformers die way too easily.
Yeah.
It's like, I get shot. Oh, okay, I'm dead. Oh, I can just tear your head off? Oh, you're dead.
Oh, well, what can I say?
There was one other thing I was going to mention, and now it jumped out of my head and I can't think of it, so I'm going to go... Oh, this is something my mom brought up. This is what I want to say. This is something my mom brought up after she saw it. As soon as we walked out of the movie, I asked them what they thought of it. Both my mom and dad said they liked it. My dad said he thought it was a little too long, because at one point I did notice that he was looking at his watch.
Yeah.
And I agree, at 2.5 hours, it's kind of pushing it.
That's a long movie.
And my mom said she liked it, but she thought Prime was a pussy. I'm like, okay, can you explain a little bit? And she's like, well, in Revenge of the Fallen, he dies. In this one, he gets caught in the wires, and he's practically helpless.
Yeah.
And then at the end, he loses his arm. And he couldn't defeat Sentinel by himself without help. Which maybe he could have had the battle continued, but Megatron jumped in.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. He was like, my trailer, my kingdom for a trailer. At that one point, it's like, but he said, like, my trailer, I need he didn't say mech tech. It was something else.
No, it was flight something.
I don't remember.
I don't know.
Though I did like the point where the humans were getting shot at, and then all of a sudden all the Autobots show up, and Prime just goes, all right, now we're taking the fight to them.
Yeah.
I've had enough of this shit.
I like when the humans got shot and they just went poof.
That was pretty epic.
And there were some bones laying there.
Yeah. That. Again, though, Michael Bay has a really hard time with tone, because that definitely had some heavy tone to it, and so did the whole scene where Patrick Dempsey's character, Carly was stuck inside Soundwave in the hentai tentacle machine.
Yep.
And then they attach that watch to Sam, and he's thinking, do I betray Optimus? Do I not betray Optimus? What do I do? And then it's all these weird pratfalls and stupid comedy. And I'm sitting there thinking, if these were real military people, they would have noticed him acting like a complete moron by now.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, so you have this really important scene, and then this comedy, and then there's no sticking to the way the tone feels. It's really weird. Michael Bay, and that's always been Michael Bay. Every movie Michael Bay does that. You've got this really serious bit and then comedy.
Yeah. I mean, even in like the more serious movies like The Rock.
Yeah.
I mean, that comedy's still there.
And it's just something that I really think that Michael Bay needs to work on as a director. I think that's one of his biggest shortcomings is that, and the fact that he can't develop characters.
Well, he did get one right, I guess, Sam.
Yeah. Sam.
In Prime, they seem to get Prime right, but I think that was more through just the script.
That's more through Peter Cullen, I think.
Yeah.
I really think. So, moving on, what did you think of, how did this compare to the other movies?
The other movies. I think the first film still stands as my favorite.
Okay.
Out of the trilogy. I think this film is a close second to that. If they would have addressed some of the character development issues in this, I think this one might have even pulled ahead of the first film for me. But as it stands, I think it has to take a back seat to the first film. But I think it's far above the Revenge of the Fallen movie.
I have to wholeheartedly agree. I still love the first one. I think the first one's the best. This is a close second. There are a lot of issues with this movie. I still liked it.
Yeah.
There are a lot of issues. And then Revenge of the Fallen is a distant third. I mean, I actually think the original 1986 movie was a much better movie. I think I've seen fan movies that are stop motion that were better movies than the Revenge of the Fallen.
No, a lot of people say that and I guess this is true, the 1986 animated movie is really just like cut and paste from like Star Wars, or there's another movie that people always compare it to. And I think I agree with that, but I think it's still a great film. I mean, it's something that I've watched a number of times. It's something I can put in right now and I can watch it, not be bored with it. Looking at these films, again, the first film, I can say the same thing about that. This movie here, I can say the same thing about that. Revenge of the Fallen, I have watched it a couple of times. And while I still think it is watchable, I know that you and I believe Ryan have said, at least Ryan has said that no, he can't watch it at all.
I have a really hard time watching it because there are a few scenes that I like, but for the most part, it's a very hard to watch movie. Like, I had not seen or read anything about it until recently when over on That Guy with the Glasses, they've got a guy, a British kid named Film Brain. He did a 2-part review of the movie almost through the whole thing, and it's like, oh my god, I forgot how bad this movie was.
I think that film would have been a lot better had they not had the Fallen
writer's strike.
Well, that too. But had they not gone down the route of the Fallen, because at the end of the movie,
the Fallen could have been an awesome character. Instead of making him like one of the original 13 Primes, they could have made him like he was originally an Autobot leader. They could have, instead of calling him the Fallen, he could have been a rogue Prime, or he could have been like, he got that nickname because he originally fell in battle one time. I mean, he could have been an interesting character. Instead, he was a pseudo-Emperor Palpatine that actually didn't really do anything.
And at the end of the film, he didn't really matter at all.
No, he didn't.
It's like, well, okay, so this film just happened and nothing really changed.
And like Shockwave, I'm going to call it the Fallen syndrome because he was exactly like Shockwave. He had a few lines to get the things moving, and he's never seen again until the end of the film, and he never transforms.
Shockwave felt more like Devastator in Revenge of the Fallen.
Well, they never named Devastator. They never said, "Oh, that's Devastator." He just
he calls him Devastator.
Oh, well, at least there weren't any giant robotic testicles this time.
Yeah, Megatron yells Devastator when he's on top of the pyramid.
Oh, I don't remember that at all.
And really, he just serves as a plot device to rip open the pyramid, and that's it.
And then he's promptly removed by a rail cannon, which is never explained or seen again.
And Shockwave is used as a plot device to introduce Prime's trailer, and then to take down the building in Chicago. And then that's
which
it.
Was kind of unnecessary.
Yeah.
I mean, it was cool, but that whole 15 minutes could have been completely cut from the film.
And nothing would have changed.
And not a damn thing would have changed.
Yeah.
Other than Prime getting stuck in some wires.
That too, yeah. All right, so we both saw the movie in 3D. How do you think this 3D compares? Well, first of all, how did you like the 3D?
I thought it was fine. Originally, and I'm not going to lie here, I originally bought my ticket for 2D, but the theater I saw it at didn't have any 2D viewings. So I ended up seeing it in 3D. It's like, okay, fine.
So then you saw it on the regular screen, correct? Not IMAX?
No, I did not see it on IMAX. Okay. And it was fine. It had been the first 3D movie I had seen since Avatar, which I didn't really care for the 3D in Avatar. This was a real D 3D, which is a different type of 3D. And it was fine. But, and this is a big but, I have no idea why it was in 3D.
Wait, let's back up for a second. You said you didn't really care for the 3D in Avatar?
No, because the 3D made me sick.
Oh.
I started getting horrible headaches and just did not feel good at all when I saw Avatar. When I saw this, I was fine.
Oh.
Except for the previews. The previews in front of Transformers, the 3D was atrocious. There was a Captain America trailer,
yep.
And I had to stop. I had to take the glasses off, and I did not look at it. It was terrible.
Yeah. I also saw the movie in 3D. Obviously, I just said that. I was going to initially see it in IMAX, but then I'm like, I was in Florida when this movie came out, and I didn't want to shell out the $20 to see it in IMAX. Because that's what this theater was charging for it. So instead I paid the $13, and I saw it on the regular screen in 3D. For me, I didn't think the 3D was necessary at all, like you said. I don't think it really added anything to the movie. When I compare it to Avatar, because a number of people were comparing the 3D in this film to what we saw in Avatar, I don't think it comes anywhere close to Avatar. When I saw Avatar, Avatar for me was more like an experience than sitting down and watching a film. With Avatar, it felt like, not like things were popping out at you, but like there was depth, like I was looking in, peering into this world. With Transformers, there was depth, but it didn't really suck me in. It sort of fell into the trap of the gaggy 3D stuff in certain spots. I was talking with Spada about this before we started recording. The thing that comes to mind is the first person. I don't remember what the scene was, but they were having the mask on.
Yep.
And it was
that
the
made
first
me
person
dizzy.
view.
That made me dizzy. That 5-second little blurb really made me dizzy.
But for the most part, it didn't really add anything to the film for me. When I saw the film for a second time a couple days ago with my parents, I didn't miss the 3D at all. Now, I never saw Avatar in 2D, despite the fact that I own the Blu-ray. I've never actually watched it. When I saw it in the theater, I only saw it in 3D.
There's a big difference there.
Yeah, I don't know that I want to watch the 2D version, actually, because it might ruin that experience for me. But with Transformers, I didn't really miss anything not seeing it in 3D. So now I don't know how the IMAX 3D compares. I don't know that I'm going to make it to see it in IMAX 3D. I saw Revenge of the Fallen in IMAX, and that was kind of cool. But that wasn't... Was that in 3D or no? I don't remember.
No.
That wasn't in 3D. Okay.
Nope. That was before... 2010 was the big push for 3D from all the studios.
Okay, yeah. The 3D was hands above Pirates, if you happen to have seen Pirates 4. Oh, that was absolutely terrible. That's one of the films where they added 3D in post.
Like Alice in Wonderland?
Yeah, I didn't see that one. But in that film, they specifically shot scenes with that shitty, I'm going to stick stuff at your face. Transformers didn't really have that. They just had some sort of the gimmicky stuff, like I said, where they had the mask. It was like first person. That was minimal, but for the most part, it didn't really add anything to the movie experience for me. So between the two, 3D or 2D, I would say just stick with the 2D.
If I were to go back, I would watch it in 2D. Now, I did something completely silly and stupid after the movie. I was actually waiting for, the credits to see if there was anything at the end. And one of the guys who was working there said, "Hey man, there's nothing there. I've seen the credits like 8 times today. There's nothing at the end, unfortunately." I'm like, "Oh man." So I headed out and I just, casually tossed the glasses into the recycle bin.
Yep.
Like they have. I got out to my car and reached for my sunglasses and put them on, and I realized I had just recycled my $10 cheapo sunglasses and still had the 3D glasses on and I was using them for my sunglasses. And I'm like,
does it say on the inside, don't use them for sunglasses, Spada?
Yeah, it does.
I actually have a bunch of glasses. They've actually changed the glasses now. I believe they come in so that the side pieces unsnap from the...
Yes, they do. You are correct.
I actually have some of the older versions where they just fold out and they're actually one complete piece.
Oh, jeez.
And that was before they started recycling them. So sometimes, and I don't do this all the time, but sometimes when they have 2D and 3D versions, I just pay for the 2D and I go into the 3D.
3D.
But yeah, in this case, I would just stick with the 2D for the film.
Yeah, I would stick with the 2D as well. It's cheaper, and you're not really missing much. I think there was maybe 1 or 2 very short scenes at the most.
Yeah. But going back just real quick to something in the film that you're talking about, the scenes during the credits. The previous 2 films had a number of scenes during the credits. This one had 1.
Yeah, it just had Totoro kissing the lady, and that was it.
I was expecting a little bit more.
Well...
Guess I was expecting too much, huh?
Well, probably.
All right, so going into our last topic here, the opening weekend numbers. Again, we're recording this on July 3rd, 2011. This happens to be a Sunday. The movie officially hit all the theaters around the country on June 29th, which was Wednesday.
Which I'm really glad they started in the middle of the week.
Yes.
As opposed to the original July 1st.
Agreed. So looking at some of the numbers here, which I got from boxofficemojo.com. At this point, 5 days in, Revenge of the Fallen had earned roughly $200 million. Dark of the Moon, we're sitting at a 5-day total of $162 million. Wow.
That's... Now, Paramount said they were expecting it to not perform as well.
Did they say why? Just the economy?
Really. I think it's the economy. I really do.
Were we just as bad in 2009 as we are in 2011, though?
I don't know. I don't know.
Although I was looking at... Let's see. Let me go back to Box Office Mojo here real quick. I believe it's showing on lesser...
Fewer. Yeah.
Fewer. Yeah, that was the word I was looking for. Fewer screens than...
Yeah, it's 9,300 screens as opposed to Revenge of the Fallen's like 1,300 or something like that.
So I'm on boxofficemojo.com. It says, They just updated here. It says, this weekend, Transformers Dark of the Moon dominated the box office with an estimated $97.4 million on approximately 9,300 screens at 4,013 locations.
Yep, I'm looking at the exact thing.
It says it claims Independent's gross record. And this actually has revised numbers. The numbers that I had were including the preview night. So the 5-day total is 156.6 million. It says the edged out Spider-Man 2 is 152.4 million.
And including the Tuesday preview night, it's 162.1 million.
Yep.
So that's not bad. I mean, that's not bad at all.
So it surpassed the first film, and the 5-day total fell short of the second film. I'm wondering how much of that has to do with the economy, how much of that has to do with the second film.
I don't know. I honestly don't know. And you have to realize, and plus ticket prices are higher now.
They are, yeah.
So I wonder if they're making less from the ticket prices than they were before.
Could be
2 years ago. I mean, that would definitely explain it. If you're making, say, you have 1 million people see the film in 2009, and you're making $5 profit on every ticket, but in 2011, those same 1 million people go to see it, but you're only making $4.50. That's a huge chunk of change.
Yep.
So that could very well be the reason. But still, I mean, the movie is making money.
Yep.
They have almost already made back their entire revenue. And most companies are going to be closed tomorrow, which is the July 4th here in the United States. And people are going to probably go see the movie then, and I bet you it'll make another at least $20 million.
Well, yeah, they've already made back their production budget when you add in the foreign.
Yeah.
The worldwide total currently is 372.1 million, so production budget, according to Box Office Mojo, is 195 million.
So they've already made a profit.
So yeah,
and, I mean, it's 5 days. They've already made a profit.
They're making money. Do you think there's going to be a fourth one? No.
I think there's going to be a fourth one, but I think this is it for this story. I wouldn't be surprised if they go with a different director. I wouldn't be surprised if they go with a different direction. Honestly, I really think they need to hand this off to a director with some more clout. I would love if either James Cameron or Steven Spielberg got a hold of this.
Yeah, now the rumor floating around was, and I don't remember why this was brought up, that Steven Spielberg could possibly direct a fourth one.
He's a big Transformers fan. He has been since the 80s. And all of his kids were big into Transformers. So it's very possible. I would love it if James Cameron came in and did a Beast Wars movie in 3D. Just take the humans out of it. Take Beast Wars, put them in the past, and you have a Beast Wars movie.
That would be interesting.
That would be awesome. And Hasbro could go, hey, we're returning to the, instead, maybe have these characters go back in time for some reason to the prehistoric era. And, they've got Grimlock and all those characters or something. That'd be awesome.
You just want to get your hands on some Beast Wars Bayformers.
God.
Is that what you're saying?
Oh God. That hurts my head. That actually makes me cringe a little bit.
I mean, he set the precedent on what they look like now, so.
Yeah, but you've got a Transformers Prime. I mean, that is a little bit different.
Yeah. Very true.
But anyway, I think there's going to be a fourth one. I really do. But
you think it's going to be a continuation? I mean, like you said, they go in a different direction or something. But you think it's going to be a continuation? You think it's going to be a reboot?
I think it's going to be either a reboot or they're going to do something completely different. I would be very, very surprised if Sam comes back. I mean, Shia LaBeouf has pretty much said, "I don't want to do this anymore."
Yeah.
Either that or the studio comes in and says, okay, well, you guys said that also could be a bluff on both Michael Bay and Shia LaBeouf, saying that could be a bargaining for them, saying, hey, you know what, we're done with this. And then the studio comes back and goes, okay, here's more money.
Yeah, beep, beep, back up the truck.
Michael Bay's already made Jeez, I'd say he's easily made $100 million off of these movies already.
That's insane.
And Shia LaBeouf is probably in the $50 million range.
That's insane.
I mean, they've probably made a ton of money on these movies. And Michael Bay keeps going, well, I want to go do something smaller that's more darker, maybe a dark comedy or something. I'm like, I don't know of any dark comedy that has explosions the way you like them. Like,
very true. All right, so closing thoughts?
Closing thoughts. This is by far the best summer blockbuster I've seen in a couple of years.
Even better than Green Lantern?
Oh, my dad and I walked out of that.
I could tell it was going to be bad just from the trailer.
I was like, I saw the trailer. I'm like, oh, please don't suck, and it sucked. I enjoyed this film. I mean, by no means is it a great movie.
Right.
I will be the first one to admit it is not a masterpiece. It is not a great movie, but damn it, it's a fun movie, and that's all I wanted.
Now, after seeing it, I did read some reviews of people around the fandom. I don't know how anyone could give it 5 stars out of 5, or a 5 out of 5, or a complete 100%, because the movie has issues. And if you're someone who watches,
it's definitely a 3 out of 5.
Yeah, if you're someone who watches movies, I don't have a degree in how to make movies. But I do watch a lot of movies. I love going to the movie theater to watch movies. So I've picked up on things here and there. And this is by no means a great movie, like you said, Spada. It does have issues, but like you said, I do think it is a great summer blockbuster movie. And I mean, it's making money, it's pulling in the crowds. I think they're the goal they set out to accomplish, they've accomplished. So I think it's a great way to end the trilogy. And I'm looking forward to anything that happens to come in the future, if we happen to get it.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see what they're going to do next, if anything at all.
Yeah, if we don't get anything, I'm okay with that, because I think it ended with a relatively good movie. So,
yep.
But like you said, I think it's a 3, maybe a 3.5 out of 5. So, my recommendation is to go to see it. Just go see it in 2D.
Yeah, go see it in 2D and make up your own mind.
Yeah. And I'm starting to lose my voice.
Me too.
All right, so this is Jesse signing off.
And this is Spada, and we'll catch you later.